Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to SATAL 2020. I am your host, Moltar, and we have a very exciting match coming at you today. I need to fix, what the hell is, I'm floating. I need to fix my floating camera. But we've got a very exciting match coming at you today. It is our first revisit to Gold League in to Diamond League in quite some time. Diamond League we've been out of for about a month because we had to reschedule some stuff, but we are finally back. Today is Eclipse Task Force taking on Golden Crown in what actually turns out to be a doozy. There's 3 rounds coming in. Well, there's supposed to be 3 rounds, but one of them didn't actually count. So we're going to skip that one because it didn't count, and it was also a private track. So there's some desync issues, but we got 2 rounds coming today, at the very least. Sorry for that little bit of a spoiler, but one of the rounds didn't count, so we're going to skip it for anybody that knows what's going on. We're going to skip that, but they're very exciting. It's going to be good to be back in a Diamond League. I'm excited to get back into this 6v6 action. Tomcats, 16s, 18s. I think there's some JF-17s. Lots of different aircraft coming at you today. So get ready, buckle up. Today's going to be a good, exciting run. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here at the talk show screen Billy is with me this week. Billy, welcome back. I need to make your webcam a little bit bigger, but we missed you on Tuesday. It was a really short match that went down on Tuesday. I think the round only took like an hour in order for us to get through, but it's good to have you back. So
yeah, I was a little hungover from the Microsoft 2020 there. My apologies, everybody.
Yeah, I saw some chat saying some stuff about Microsoft 2020, Flight Sim 2020, so that's been going on. We've also had Syria map launched, so we've had a bunch of really exciting stuff happen this week with Microsoft Flight Simulator launching. I think it was on the 18th, Syria launching on the 19th. We had a bunch of changes, and you were actually just mentioning to me, which I think I noticed as well, that we got some frame increases in DCS.
Sorry, there's just some light in there. Yeah, I'm noticing easily 15 to 20, sometimes 30 frames more than what I was getting previously. So it's pretty remarkable how much of a performance boost we got in this most recent update. Not to mention how good Syria looks. I mean, it's pretty nice for those who have got in there and kind of checked it out so far.
Yeah, I jumped into Syria, and when I was playing single player, not down in the trees, the trees will kill you. I think I was getting 140 FPS, and that was at 1440p. I didn't check it at 4K, but at 1440p, I was at like 140 frames per second. So that's a pretty substantial increase. I haven't checked. I didn't really get to play yesterday. There weren't a lot of multiplayer Syria maps. I can't do the PvE. So
we actually threw up we had a little PvP, so we converted ours from a private to a public and put up a little mission that we had up. I think it's still up there now. Matter of fact, I think we might see our group start flexing towards maybe doing a PvP public server, but we'll see. We kind of demo some things out and see how that goes.
I'm also debating. I think I decided yesterday that I'm going to do an Airquake style mission that but I think there needs to be a home for guys that just want to go up and kill each other.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of why we threw that up yesterday, is to give people a place to go do that on that new map and stuff. So that was kind of the idea behind it. Yeah, I think we're gonna see what we got going on there develop into something pretty cool. I'm looking forward to kind of butzing with it and seeing what we can provide for everybody.
Right. So today, again, Golden Crown taking on Eclipse Task Force. It's going to be a good one. UK Spectrum drops this Prime subs back for last 2 months, says Diamond Hype. Welcome back, brother. Welcome back to the family. But I'm excited to get back into 6v6 action. We got the Tomcats. We got the 16s. I actually see, I think, at least 3 Tomcats for Golden Crowns. So I think there's at least 4 Tomcats in the match. So lots of Phoenixes are going to be launching. And I previewed a little bit of stuff. Once stuff gets going, it doesn't stop. These guys get right into the thick of it. It's a brawl match. It's not we're just gonna shoot and turn around. It's nothing of the sort like that. So I think it's gonna be exciting. But let's jump into the sim. Let's see how these guys are gonna go. We got a little bit of time to taxi, but we got some stuff to catch up on. So let's jump into this and see how these guys are gonna go and see who's gonna take this match. Here we go. So, Billy, with this many Tomcats on the ground, how do you think this is going to play? I mean, I'm counting at least 4 Tomcats between the two teams so far, just what I've seen. Right now we're looking at Eclipse Task Force, and Riker and Kingston are taxiing behind him. There's actually a 5th Tomcat. So there's Tomcats everywhere.
Wow.
There's going to be telephone poles flying. Yeah, Chrome Cat, we should say. But there's going to be Tomcats and telephone poles everywhere today.
And what are we looking at range-wise here?
It's decently long. It's Vaziani against Sochi, so it's a long way.
Yes, it is.
But that really hasn't been a factor. We saw that, I think, on Tuesday. No, it wasn't Tuesday. It was the week before that. And it wasn't that big of a issue with fuel. We saw him kind of limp. I think it was Saturday. We saw one of them worried about fuel, but everybody was able to make it back. So I don't think it's going to be a huge factor in today's match. It wasn't last time, but we'll see. All the teams are a bit different in how they take fuel into consideration. So any predictions on how that's going to go? Do you think fuel is going to be a problem? Tomcat's pretty fuel efficient as long as you stay at a burner.
And not to mention just the glide, even if so, you really just got to put yourself in the right parameters, and you can pretty easily make that happen. So with the amount of Tomcats, I'm going to say probably not as big of an issue as if we saw more like 16s or something along the lines of that, where we've seen kind of struggle with the longer distances. But yeah, no, I think we're going to see them be able to make it back here, at least be able to get one person back on the winning side. So. Yeah, I'm not sure. The Phoenix clearly going to play a big factor in today's match. I'm gonna assume things pick up at some point here, and we get ourselves a barn burner. But it's just when do we get to that point is the question.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm anticipating it. Like I said, I looked through some stuff earlier. This does get pretty action packed, and I'm gonna apologize in advance, guys. I may miss some stuff because there's a lot of things that happen at the same time. So there is a possibility that I am not going to be able to keep everything in view as it happens. I'm going to try, and we're going to utilize some pausing. I don't want to have to go back through and reload the track. So I'm gonna try my very best to make this happen. Looks like we got at least 2 JF-17s coming for Eclipse Task Force. So lots of Tomcats, at least a couple JF-17s, which we don't see all that frequently. So I'm excited to see that. It's nice to see a bunch of stuff that I don't see a whole lot.
Right.
What is, let's flip over here. What else is Golden Crown taking? What is down here?
Looks
An
like a
18. Looks like 2 18s are down here. A Tomcat. And what else? 2 more Tomcats. 3 more. So Golden Crown actually has 4 Tomcats.
Wow.
4 Tomcats and 2 18s. And then what does Eclipse Task Force have? Who are we missing? So Eclipse Task Force has 2 Tomcats, 2 18s, and 2 JF-17s.
Wow. So this is our first glimpse at the JF-17, right?
No, we've seen it dabbled in previous matches, but it hasn't. We've never seen multiple, I don't think. Eclipse Task Force originally, I think, was going to take multiple of these guys, or multiple JF-17s, more than 2, but I think with weapon restrictions and stuff that were instituted at the beginning of this year, it didn't end up happening. But I could be wrong. It also could be that they decided, well, the Tomcat and the AMRAAM update have provided a better platform, we think, for these engagements. So maybe that's what goes down. But 6 Tomcats, 4 18s, and 2 JF-17s are the aircraft that are being represented today. So pilots that are flying today for Eclipse Task Force are Josh, Willis, Kingston in the 2 F-14s, Riker and Breeze in the JF-17s, and then Jonas and Reflex in the trail positions in the 18s. And then for Golden Crown, we have Challenger. And guys, I don't know who the Rios are because I can't see it. But Challenger and who else? Challenger and Alpha Whiskey in 2 of the 14s. And then Helldog and Grippin in the other 2 14s. And then Fuji and Dave in the Hornets for Golden Crown. So again, if this is your guys' first time seeing Diamond League is a 6v6 engagement where you are forced to fly with a human Rio. Jester is not allowed. And Gold League, which we've seen predominantly over the year, is 4v4 and Jester is allowed. Weapon restrictions and mission locations are the same. So teams are allowed to pick the missions. The mission picking is the same between the leagues, and weapon restrictions A and B is the same. And I saw Xander say that this is going to be a weapon restriction. So 120Cs, Mark 60s are going to be in full play. Something that we saw on Tuesday, Billy, you weren't here, was the Mark 60 tore apart Outer Haven.
Wow, okay.
Do you think in this one, you weren't here to see Outer Haven, but do you think in this one that that's going to be the same, that we're going to see a similar thing happen today? So real quick, guys, Eclipse Task Force is on the right, Golden Crown is on the left in this split screen view.
Let me ask you this. What are the Jeffs carrying?
Jeffs are going to carry, I'm guessing here without zooming in, 4 SD-10s, and 2 of the IR, whatever they are, PD.
And,
I don't remember what they are.
and
Something.
the jamming pods are currently not allowed, right?
I don't know if that was put in place. I don't think that was in place when this was flown.
Interesting.
I don't remember.
I just know right now that jamming pod gives you, one of the big things it gives you is it identifies the missile that is tracking you. So like the RWR, you get a notification, whether it's a 120, whether it's a 54, whether it's I believe a 77, so on and so forth. So the ability to identify that it is a Phoenix chasing you, I think gives a little advantage in the evasion category of knowing you got to do a little bit more. There's a little bit more energy on the missile that's currently chasing you. How much and how well that factors in is, I think, a different question. But I do think it is an advantage, when used in the right way. So I'm curious how those Jeffs fare against these Phoenixes, and whether that's a factor in the whole thing. But the fact that there's going to be as many of them flying around as might be, I don't know. I struggle to think that they don't end up dominating this whole thing with just the amount of presence we're going to see up there.
Yeah, I don't know. Eclipse Task Force says the jammer was banned at the time of this match. Okay, so
so no jammer.
The jammer, they can't use it. And
Okay.
the reason, ladies and gentlemen, why the jammers were banned, it's not just for the JF-17. It's jammers throughout. That was because ED is slowly putting in ECM. They're slowly reworking how ECM works. And a couple patches ago, they put in a jamming update that on things like the Tomcat and the F-15 and I think the JF-17, if you jammed and then did like a 2G turn on an incoming active, it would not hit you. It from your view, it wouldn't hit you. From the shooter's view, it would hit you because there was a little bit of desync and the missile would come by really close. But the missile would never hit you if you were doing this. It wasn't like, countermeasures. It's a random chance for it may hit you, it may not. It would never hit you, ever, if you did it right. So that's why we took it out. And there's ways that we have where if you do take an aircraft that doesn't have an outboard jammer, you are forced to send me your private track just so I can check if there is ever any question. So we are monitoring it, and you're just not allowed to take external jammers. So Xander Draft drops I think he just gifted a tier 1 sub to Eclipse Task Force. Thank you very much, brother. Much appreciated. And we still, speaking of subs, I still have not heard from Twitch. Twitch, get with me. At least tell me if something's going on. I'm gonna blame the Rona for the delay here, but
it happens.
What can you do?
Problems.
What can you do? Okay, so if you guys, for anybody that doesn't know and is just joining us, there is real-time telemetry. If you have TACView Advanced, you guys can load it up, connect to the IP and port that Streamlabs bot just put out there, and it will allow you to ride along in TACView in real time with what you see on the screen. So we're gonna, if you guys want to take advantage of that, be sure to check that out. Jaster says, Moltar, how's the RAM going? I have not gotten it yet. It's supposed to be here tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll see. See if it helps. It should. It should. Fox Alpha says, F-14 is troll, can jam, can't be jammed. Yeah, man. It's the best of both worlds. And what he's, for anybody that doesn't know, for what he's talking about, full fight aircraft cannot see jammers. So it can jam, but it doesn't see jammers. So it is what it is. But guys, you guys are taking off. We're going to crank up the volume, wake everybody up with jet sounds in the morning. Billy and I are going to disappear for a minute. We'll be back on the ingress, but let's turn up the volumes and enjoy the sweet sounds of jet fuel as they depart from Vaziani and Sochi. Eclipse Task Force, Golden Crown, Diamond League. Here we go. All right, Billy. So seeing all these Tomcats, you think the first kill is going to be a Mark 60?
I mean, I think it's got the highest probability. If I was a betting man, yeah, I'd probably be betting on that right now. Absolutely.
Do you think the Tomcats are going to be enough to give Golden Crown the advantage? I mean, they have 4. Eclipse Task Force has 2. So Golden Crown has 4 Tomcats and 2 18s, or 2 Hornets. And then Eclipse Task Force has 2 Tomcats, 2 Hornets, and 2 Thunder. So who you giving the side for if we were looking just at aircraft?
I mean, I don't know if having 4 Tomcats over 2, other than the additional Phoenixes, is too big of an advantage. I think it really is gonna is gonna matter how ETF handles those 4 Tomcats and the others.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This could go multiple ways here with this many Tomcats and Phoenixes in play.
Right. Bobby Rutz, guess it doesn't give me points for streaming on the Fire Stick. It should, unless you lost them all last time. If you were betting,
maybe you're not logged in
last round.
Oh, no,
he's got to be logged in. It gives you points the longer you watch the stream. So you should be getting points. Dave GT asked, no 15s? No 15s. Actually, no Flaming Cliffs aircraft. None at all.
It should be.
That's the.
Ban FC3 everywhere.
I tried putting that in at the beginning, and it just, I don't think everybody was ready for it yet. It was not there yet.
Not everyone's moved on with the way things are these days.
Not yet.
Got with the current times, at least.
Not yet. It's getting there. It's getting there. I mean, the what was I going to say? The full flight aircraft are getting a decent advantage. Skittle says Phoenix got a nerf in the last patch. Did it? I know it does some stuff in single player, but in multiplayer, I don't think it changed. Did it? Elaborate. Do you know if I didn't see anything with the Phoenix getting any?
I didn't read
changes.
it. I mean, that's not something ED is necessarily going to post about, but
I saw the Tomcat got damage model tweaks.
Yep.
And it got some flight model tweaks.
A lot of things seem to get flight model tweaks.
Yeah. I did see that, Man Bear Pig. The Phoenix is now, or at least maybe one of the versions is less resistant to countermeasures, which.
It's not a nerfing though, right? I think
that's a nerf.
An opposite. What's less resistant?
It's so more resistant would mean that countermeasures are less effective.
Oh, less
resistant means that they're more effective. Which, if you think about it, I mean, the Phoenix is a 70s and 80s missile. The Mark 60 uses a seeker head that was designed in the 70s. So it makes sense that they should be easily spoofed. It makes sense to me. Now, some of the Tomcat purists may disagree, but to me, that makes a whole lot of sense. Okay, so
I agree.
Yep. It is what it is. But I'm waiting for, and I know we're waiting on ED for that, but I am waiting for the Magic INS to be fixed. It's fixed in single player, obviously. I think it's always been fixed in single player, but in multiplayer, it is not. So
interesting.
It'll still like track, but I don't know if I don't think it's fixed yet. So we're still waiting on that to be fixed. But for anybody just joining us, this is SATAL 2020. I'm your host Moltar, joined as always by Billy Wa Merlin, the mustache man himself. If you ask nicely, he'll give you a mustache ride, but you may have to pay him.
Maybe, yeah. It's gonna require some money.
So SATAL is a squadron versus squadron event. So today's mission location is Sochi versus Vaziani. It is like 200. It's like 200 miles. 275 miles between these air bases. So ingress distance to the center of the AO is 125 miles. Round trip is roughly 250 miles. So fuel is definitely part of the equation today. But last time we saw this map, which is Saturday, fuel wasn't really a big issue. Just reading the chat and catching up.
Everything in play here is pretty efficient as far as fuel. So those Jeffs are very efficient. The Hornet's pretty efficient, and the I wouldn't say the Tomcat is the most efficient fuel wise, but it's got so much of it that you really don't need to worry about it. Plus, you add in the glide factor there, and you're pretty good.
Now, let me kind of elaborate on what you said. They can be fuel efficient if flown correctly. They can also be hugely fuel inefficient. I mean, it all depends on how the aircraft is flown, how long the blower is on, what altitudes you fly at. If we look at what Reflex is doing, he's at 300 knots, full mill roughly at 30,000 feet. So he's doing okay. Does he have multiple bags? He has 3 bags. So if flown fuel efficiently, there should still be fuel in that 3rd bag. Because I know in the 16, I can take off from Tbilisi and fly all the way to, Sukhumi with just that centerline tank if I wanted to and wanted to do it fuel efficiently. It's not too hard. You just got to make sure that you don't go through that afterburner D10 and kick it into high gear, because you'll burn through those pounds of fuel really, really quickly. So
absolutely. No. Point to point, no doubt. I think the hard part here, which is what these guys are dealing with at SATAL, is driving to a point, getting there, fighting, allotting a certain amount to fight, and then knowing that you still have to be able to make it back. And at the end of the day, it's not easy here. You can't just be like, all right, I'm out. You guys finish it off because I'm out of fuel. You kind of have to fight until the fight is over and then try to make it back. Which that, I think, to be honest, is probably one of the most challenging aspects of some of these matches, is getting there and conserving fuel while fighting. Only running that burner when you need to generate energy to get a shot off or evade, or not be really hammering that engine in situations where it's doesn't need to be run that hard.
Right.
Looks like Phoenix is off the rails here.
Yeah, there is a Phoenix coming from Eclipse Task Force, so we're gonna go to split view.
It looks like.
Oh, there are 2. So we're riding along right now with the lead Phoenix. It was launched by Josh Willis from the lead F-14, and it is currently at 65,000 feet at almost 3,000 knots. So the Mark 60, guys, even though it's launched from 70 miles, she is a force to be reckoned with once she comes at 70,000 feet now. She is a force to be reckoned with as long as she's tracking the entire time and as long as she's supported by the launching aircrafts. This missile, by the time it reaches its intended target, you can see how slowly this thing is slowing down. She's going to have some juice. And the Phoenix, they got to fix this pushover thing. It lost 500 knots of airspeed relatively quickly. They're just dumping altitude. We're down to 1,500 knots coming in. It looks like it's coming on an Alpha Whiskey. So 7 miles now. I don't know that Alpha Whiskey's going to get this launch warning because it's coming down from so steep. 1,000 knots now, and I don't think it's going to catch him because it's coming in from such a weird angle. And Alpha Whiskey does indeed get a missile warning. He does very well at defending that late. But the missile's just bleeding so much energy when it gets into terminal guidance that it's not able to make those last turns.
And there's 2 Phoenixes out from from GC right now towards the ETF guys, but I don't know how much. I think one of them, actually, there's a 3rd now off the rails from GC to.
I think one of them's on Breeze, another one's on Josh, and this 3rd one, I don't know who it's on, but they're not going to have enough energy to really pose any type of threat to any of the Eclipse Task Force pilots. The shots aren't bad, but when you're flying against people that know when to defend them and know that you can't just turn around and fly in a straight line, because that's what allows the missile to be more efficient, the missiles launched from these ranges, though you can get kills, are not going to guarantee you a kill. Odds that you're going to get a kill are fairly low, in all honesty. So these guys launching from 60 miles, Billy, I think they're just removing the ability to have weapons late in the game, which I'm seeing how many missiles have been launched. We've already seen 5 Phoenix launched. There's 6 Tomcats at 4 Phoenix apiece, which leaves us with 24. So we're already down 19 missiles remaining, or radar-guided missiles or effective missiles remaining between 6 aircraft, which isn't a lot.
No, indeed, it's not.
So Eclipse Task Force still has 6 pilots remaining. Golden Crown still has 6 pilots remaining. And these Phoenix are just not. They got them to turn around, but in all honesty, Billy, what they also do is they remove your ability to drag your opponent into a an exposed position.
It also keeps the separation pretty great. I mean, we're talking 20, 30 miles, if not longer than that separation here. And now more Phoenix is out back and forth. And it really looks like the other aircraft in this fight are holding off until these Tomcats kind of duke it out here and lob the Phoenixes back and forth. It looks like ETF putting one of their own out. I mean, we've seen what? We're at 6 to 8 Phoenix shots already so far?
We're at 8 now because there were 5 and there were just 3 more launched. So this Phoenix that we're riding along with was the first of these 3 that were launched. And it was launched from a considerable range. It's coming in on Breeze. Breeze is right here. It's coming in on Breeze. It just went active, I think. It just came off of its loft. It's at 40,000 feet, 2,000 knots. And it's still doing decently well with energy. It's 1,700 knots now. Breeze is now defending. I don't see Breeze. I don't see his aircraft yet. This one may be trashed. There goes another Phoenix. I think that's from Challenger. Yeah, Breeze is 10 miles away. That missile's not going to catch him. So you defend early, you turn cold, and the missile's just not going to catch you. It doesn't have the energy to be able to keep with you in terminal guidance if you're doing any type of serpentines, because huge fins means huge amounts of energy used up when it's trying to maneuver. And the missile, I think that we established a couple weeks ago that the Phoenix is 13 feet long. It is not a little missile.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point with those fins. The larger those fins, and you look at the AIM-9X and the 120C, you know, why they have those smaller fins, and that is due to all aspect stuff, right? You know, the smaller those fins, the more efficiently it can kind of maneuver quickly through the air. And you look at the Phoenix that has those large fins, and the moment you get that thing in moving in any position that's not straight or pitched up or pitched down for the most part, anytime you get any type of yaw to it, those fins are just catching air and slowing that missile down.
Oh, we actually just saw somebody crash. So one of the Eclipse task force combatants just crashed. He was right here. I didn't see who it was. It wasn't Breeze, but one of these guys just crashed between Breeze and Josh. So Eclipse task force is now down to 5 combatants, while Golden Crown is down to 6. Oh, Eclipse task force says Riker had a connection timeout. Okay, so he didn't crash. So that stuff can happen. But even though it happens, you know, we're not going to restart the round. These rounds can take a significant amount of time to get going. So you just got to make sure that you have a decent connection when you're getting into these rounds. And sometimes, you know, shit happens and there's not much you can do about it.
Well, like the ground, the internet is undefeated.
Oh, absolutely. Totally undefeated.
Yeah, right. You know, the two heavyweight champs of the world right there.
Very high kill to death ratio. I mean, its death ratio is 0. It doesn't lose. Sometimes it waits. Sometimes there's a significant amount of time between kills, but you know, it always catches you. Always catches you.
It does.
So Eclipse task force is down to. I missed a team kill on red. Oh, we did. So there was a friendly fire on red. Did anybody see what that was? Let's pause it. So I got the mission paused, and let's bring up the TAC view and see what happened there. So I'm looking
at the TAC view.
Let's bring this up, and let me flip over here. Let's see what transpired. So it was Golden Crown. Something happened. It was at like 46 minutes.
I'm gonna guess the radar. Helldog crosses, or Alpha Whiskey seems to cross in front of Helldog's radar, and I don't know if that caused a track to jump or something like that. But it looked like he went to go engage, and maybe the track had, you know, the sorting of the tracks had skipped, and it may have just went right for him. Just a guess there. He does a decent job of trying to get away from it, but a Phoenix that fast, that close, it's gonna be challenging. Although it's still picking up speed as it's coming at him, which that's
it's too close. You have to notch a Phoenix that's close.
Yeah.
If it's still supported, but it's so close. Why did it just go active?
My guess would be that it I don't know. That close is really questionable.
It must have been a PAL shot.
I'd love to know from those guys.
It must have been a PAL shot where it just locked him. And it
Well, I'm questioning why he's going to PAL there. It doesn't seem like there's any enemies that would warrant him even going
is
into
PAL
that mode
20
at that rate.
miles?
Yeah, what's their distance there? PAL is 20 miles,
30,
I believe.
33 miles.
Okay, yeah, maybe they're. Yeah, that's a good point. They're getting right up against
Yeah.
it there. He may have been trying to switch to that. That's fair.
Yeah, that'd be my guess of what happened. And he thought he had an enemy locked, and it was actually Alpha. And you know that stuff happens. Why you got to make sure you don't a lot of times want to fire with somebody, a friendly in front of you, or stuff like this can happen. So we've lost one combatant from both sides, but let's go ahead and unpause the stream again and jump back into this. So we're down to a 5v5. And I actually didn't see that when I was going through things. So we're down to a 5v5. Alpha Whiskey and Riker have both been taken down. Alpha Whiskey for Golden Crown and Riker for Eclipse Task Force. That's unfortunate, Billy. That's rough.
Indeed.
That's rough.
I've been there with those type of things. That happens, and it is never fun to be the guy on the shooting end of that. You always kind of got to feel that one.
Well, I think it's more morale.
Right.
It's more of damage to your morale when that stuff happens. I mean, even a disconnect can cause serious problems. So
right.
I think we're gonna have two arenas unfolding here. We've got Jonas and Reflex up here to the north, ingressing on Challenger, Fuji, and Dave. And then we've got Breeze, Josh, Willis, and Kingston coming in on Helldog and Grippin. So let's ride along with Breeze. He's coming in a JF-17 low. He's really low, like really low. I was worried he was going to hit something there. But he's coming in here. Do we see? Let's go to split screen so we can try and visualize what's going on. Breeze is coming in against Helldog in an F-14. He's head-on with him. 3 miles now. There goes an SD-10. That's going to be really dangerous on Helldog. So we're going to flip. You guys are going to be able to see this. There goes the SD-10. It impacts Helldog, but Helldog is still up. Now there's an AIM-54 coming in onto Breeze. Is he going to be able to get away from that? The SD-10 isn't tracking, and that takes down Breeze from Grippin. So Helldog ends up crashing. And let's make sure that we're not going to miss anything. So I've paused the stream just to make sure that we're not going to miss anything here. But AIM-54 hits Breeze. Breeze is able to take down Helldog with an SD-10. So now we're down to a 2v1 down here to the south with Grippin, Kingston, and Josh Willis. And then up here to the north, we've got a 2-ship of Jonas and Reflex coming in against Challenger, Dave, and Fuji. So, we've got a disadvantage for Golden Crown down here to the south, and we've got a significant advantage for Golden Crown up here to the north. Billy, you got anything? Breeze, I think, just got in too deep and didn't defend.
Yeah, a little bit there, especially with the Phoenixes that play those numbers and where you kind of got to watch yourself change a little bit there. And I just don't know how much of that was respected as far as where he pushed himself, or the position he pushed himself into there.
Right. Well, let's jump into Fuji's perspective. He's low, and just like Breeze in the last scenario, he's crawling over the hills, and we're going to see if he's able to make anything happen with this incursion with the 2 Eclipse Task Force guys. So here we go. These guys are rocking and rolling again. Again, this is Golden Crown's Fuji over here on the right. And I don't know. He's getting in deep, Billy. He's getting in really deep. So if we go to split screen, you guys are going to be able to see that he is in very, very deep. He's head-on with Jonas now, but he actually doesn't see anybody. His SA is totally diminished. I don't know if he just doesn't see him on data link or what's going on, but he's actually merged with these 2 guys from Eclipse Task Force. And actually, we've got Jonas in a really good position against Dave, and Dave is now the guy on the left, and Jonas is launched from the right, and Dave is mountaintop climbing, and you're not going to be able to not just see like that half-mile, face-mile, and Jonas gets taken down.
Ooh.
So Jonas is dead, and now Fuji is coming in against Jonas. Sorry, Dave is dead. Jonas was the one that killed him, and now Jonas is merged with Fuji over here to the right. So I'm going to try and set up a dual camera perspective here between Jonas and Fuji. Nope. Wrong camera. So we're going to grab Jonas's point of view here. So Jonas is behind Fuji. Fuji is in front of Jonas in this scenario. And Jonas just sees Fuji all the way. 120 comes off the rail from Fuji, and that's going to face mile him all over the place. And he just takes it ramrodded right up the behind. And we're going to pause it real quick just to make sure we don't miss anything. But Jonas finds himself in a really good position. Jonas actually gets really lucky in that situation. You guys actually didn't see the dual perspective. I'm sorry. I didn't actually make that happen.
Question from Flatspin. Is there AWACS on this mission? We didn't see what
yes,
there is. Okay.
There is.
So data link
I think.
and direction.
I think. Maybe there's not. I think there is.
Yeah,
there is. There is. There is. There is. So
TAC view paused, by the way. I don't know. It never picked up. I don't know for those watching.
Interesting.
On the TAC view, it's still back where we paused before.
Oh, well, I paused it again. So maybe that's why you're seeing
it.
Maybe. Why you're seeing it. It's paused. So Jonas in that situation, let's bring up the TAC view again. Jonas in that situation honestly gets really lucky in this scenario. So Jonas is Jonas gets really lucky because Fuji ingresses here and just flat out does not see him. I don't know what happened there, but in all honesty, Jonas or Fuji should be dead in this scenario. One of these guys, both of them just do not see each other. I'm going to assume that Fuji was line of sighted with the AWACS from Eclipse Task Force and honestly was probably line of sighted with his own AWACS in this situation, and he doesn't get seen. So Jonas is able to take down Dave. Fuji just is able to come in behind Reflex, but doesn't see Jonas. So then he gets sandwiched. And Reflex is really lucky that Jonas is there to be able to take him down. So really lucky scenarios there. And while that was all going down, we actually missed Grippin getting taken down here to the south by Kingston. So that's unfortunate that we missed that. That was the southern engagement with the Singleton from Golden Crown and the 2-ship from Eclipse Task Force. We missed Grippin getting taken down. But this is where we're going to be. Fuji is going to be dead right here. This is where we're going to pick back up. So we've got a Singleton remaining from Golden Crown. And 4 pilots remaining for Eclipse Task Force. So Golden Crown's Challenger is sitting down here at 8,000 feet, just between the 2 ships of Eclipse Task Force. So let's jump back to the map. You guys are going to be able to see that scenario right here. Let's jump into the action. We're going to ride along from Challenger's perspective and see if he's going to be able to take anybody down with him in this scenario, or maybe he can pull an Epic Ninja Cheese and is able to swing the tides in Golden Crown's favor.
It's a tall mountain to climb right now, that's for sure.
That is a very tall mountain to climb. That is a nigh unsurmountable mountain to climb. But we are here with Golden Crown's Challenger, and we will have to see if he's going to be able to do it. So we're going to go to split screen, and you guys can see the map and what's going on. We're going to check their... Billy's asking what weapons he's carrying. He's got 2 Phoenix and 4 AIM-9, so he's got the weapons. But if they constantly put missiles on him that he has to defend, he's going to have it rough. He's going to be able to line of sight this 120. No, he's not, but he's going to be able to notch it. So that 120 gets notched. He's got Reflex coming in behind him, which we can see on the map. Don't see him through the mountain. And Jonas is just behind Reflex. So he line of sights both those guys. I think he's disappeared on data link right now. So Reflex and Jonas have no idea where he's at. Reflex is flying by the wayside behind him. And actually, Challenger's coming in a really good position on Jonas. Really good position on Jonas. We're going to go full screen on Challenger. Does he see him? Challenger!
Little trap he laid there.
Oh, yeah, but I don't think he's got the SA. He sees Jonas now in front of him. Doesn't see, or sorry, sees Reflex in front of him. There goes the AIM-9, and that misses, so he just doesn't put himself in a good firing position. But now does he see... He doesn't see Jonas! No!
Does Jonas see him, though, or is Jonas holding
No,
back
he
on
doesn't.
shooting?
Neither of these guys see him.
Oh, man, SA is in the toilet right now, guys.
So we're going to jump back to the map view so you guys can see what's going on. Another AIM-9 coming in on Reflex. That's going to hit, as Reflex doesn't see it at all. So Challenger's able to bring it down from a 4v 1 to a 3v1, but his SA with the data link is just doo-doo.
They are low in the mountains.
They are. They are.
It sounds like a really nasty lightning storm's moving in. If you lose me at any point, it could be power.
Well, we don't care about you anyway.
Yeah, I know. Most people don't.
And I kind of wonder now if Challenger's out of fuel.
He's certainly not.
He's down to 70% engine RPM. I think he may be in trouble here. Maybe he got hit by something we didn't see.
Could be a possibility. Well, you might be able to zoom in and check the visual damage, although that may be desynced a little. Tough to tell.
Yeah, I don't see anything that he's just sitting at 70%. Does anybody know why that would happen? What's going on there? While we're trying to figure that out, Comey drops 2 sets of 64 bits. Much appreciated, brother. Thank you. Goes straight into the war chest and helped me pay back that RAM that I bought. That'll be here tomorrow. Hopefully that makes a change. He's throttling up now at 85%. He's got to just be worried about fuel. He's got to be fuel critical right now, and that's why he's flying so low on the engine RPM.
That's a very good possibility here with what we're seeing.
Jonas, Kingston, and Josh have all recommitted. They were turned home with the hope that Jonas was going to be able to take down Challenger. Or sorry, that Reflex was going to be able to take down Challenger. And Challenger is now up to 100% engine RPM.
Maybe he was trying to get low, slow, and lost for a little bit.
He's really slow, though. 150 knots.
Yeah, that's a problem.
He's dead here. He's way too slow. Yeah, he lost it. And into the trees he goes and gets taken down by Mother Nature. Those trees will just reach out and grab you.
It's the squirrels, man.
They come out of nowhere. Yeah, ninja squirrels come out of nowhere and bite you. But Eclipse Task Force is able to come back and make that one happen. What happened there, Billy? I mean, it just seemed like Golden Crown just got separated and they just got taken down.
Yeah, indeed. We talked about the fuel too in the beginning, and we really didn't think it was going to be a problem with the Tomcats. But I think that just shows you, you get put into a position towards the end there where you got to do a little bit more than maybe you want to, and all of a sudden that fuel is now out the window. He wouldn't have had, he could have had all those guys cold in front of him, and he wouldn't have been able to make it back after getting the kills. So I think it goes. Circle back to that point from the beginning, like we were saying, it's all about how you use that fuel once you get to bullseye, right? You have to be as absolutely efficient as possible getting from point, from your where you start, the airbase you start from, to bullseye. You have to manage your fuel in that span very well.
Yeah.
So you have as much as you possibly can muster in that fight to be able to make it back.
Yep.
So it's difficult. I think that's still a challenging thing, no matter how much experience you have in these planes. Those fights can go so differently sometimes, and you really not at liberty sometimes to be off the burner or on the burner. You kind of have to just go with the flow with it. But at the same note, that I think is the trick or the key here to these type of engagement.
Right. So Eclipse Task Force says Kingston has 3.4 thousand pounds. Josh has 6.4 and Jonas has 5. So they have significant amounts of fuel remaining. Zelamik says, how big is the bubble? The bubble in this mission is roughly 100 nautical miles across. So it's substantial. Big enough that it shouldn't be any type of problem, even with the Mark 60. Shouldn't have been a problem.
Rarely see people get up against the edge. I mean, I can maybe think of
maybe in the smaller missions, but not in these. Not in these.
Yeah.
Really, we haven't seen the bubble ever really play a role in anything. It's big enough that really haven't seen any issues. Beaver asked, did I get partnership yet? I have not heard from Twitch. We talked about this earlier. I'm chalking it up to the Rona and just slow response times and stuff. So nothing we can do about it at all. Just gotta wait. Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe
Hopefully.
they take notice. Who knows?
I mean, the more subs we get, the better. I think the better and higher we're gonna appear in the eyes of of Twitch. We've been hovering around 200 subs. So I'm gonna make the call out that if you guys have Amazon Prime and haven't used that sub, I'm gonna shill myself. You got a free sub available. Check it. See if you got it. If you've linked Amazon Prime with your Twitch account. And if you don't, I got a notification. I think that Twitch is doing 20% off your first sub for the month.
Hey-o.
Maybe for the month. So it saves you $1. Any word on Folds of Honor? We're starting to put it together. I've been working with Mover's going to come back for that. So I've been starting to put it together. We're waiting on some stuff. The one thing I will say, guys, there is going to be a significant change this year in that we are going to institute a G limit like they do in real life. The G limit is going to be a thing. So no more will you be able to use that paddle switch in the Hornet, the oh shit button to get you out of the bad situations. That will happen no more. There are G limits where the Hornet, I think, is going to be 8G. The Viper's 9.3, and I think you can get to 9.3 in the Viper anyway. But 9.3 in the Viper. The Mirage is actually like 9.5. And what was the other one? The Tomcat's going to be like 7. Tomcat's actually really low. So we're going to be monitoring that in TACView. And I'm actually working with France to see if we can get auditory alerts to see if we can get notified when a G limit is hit. So there's going to be a G limit. This is going to be how the real boys do it. Oh, Beaver, you can definitely hit it, but odds are if you hit 9.3 in DCS, you're probably going to black out. So not sustained. But that's going to... The G limits, Jester, are no matter what. You can't go over those. So from what I understand, from what I've talked about with Movers so far, that is going to be a significant change, and it's going to force people to fly in a more realistic fashion. So really in the 18, it just means don't touch the paddle switch. Don't do it, or bad things are going to happen.
What? And this might be new to the patch yesterday, but I had 2 JSOWs on the wings last night, and I was just kind of messing around in the mountains in Syria, and I was like about to, I kind of came into a dive, and I was about to hit a ridge, so I cranked the paddle switch and pulled up over it. But as I pulled up over it, the JSOWs ripped off the wings. So I don't know if that's new, that got added. I know that was not the case before. I pulled that paddle switch plenty of times with those JSOWs on and not had them rip off. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that was something they added in this recent patch with the flight model updates to the Hornet, but I would love to hear from chat if anyone else has experienced that with the Hornet and ripping ordnance from the wings. I'm pretty sure that's a relatively new thing. If not this patch, then maybe the one before, and I just didn't pick up on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Diagnosis D came in with the Prime sub. Thank you very much, brother. But let's jump through the TAC view while we're watching these guys RTB. I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit. So we saw Challenger get taken down. I guess he just ran out of fuel or was trying to conserve fuel and then tried to, I don't know what happened, tried to defend this 120 and ended up getting his butt kicked by it. So let's see. Oh, Beaver says it's not really, I mean, it's not as long as it should be, but with G warm-up, you can hold the 8G pretty consistently. You can do it better, but the problem with the G in the Viper is that you can pull 8G, and then if you let out and pull again, you black out at a lower G limit. And after talking to the real pilots that I know, the G warm-up really isn't for the pilot. It's to make sure that shit isn't going to fall off your airplane when you start pulling G. They say that you can pull the G. It may not be as comfortable if you don't do the G limit or the G warm-up, but you can pull the G for the same amount of time, regardless if you do the warm-up or not. So they train the Viper to be able to pull 9G sustained for like a minute. So we can sustain it for 2 seconds in DCS, and then we're blacked out. So
and that's a good point too. You know, that whole process, you know, isn't making you get any more out of it. You're just prepping your mind and your body to
and you're also prepping your plane and making sure your aileron's not going to rip off or something like that. So let's
ordnance, all that kind of stuff.
Let's go back and look at the TAC view while these guys are RTB because they got a decent ways to go. So we're riding along with who we riding along with Jonas in in the Hornet in the upper right corner. So these guys are RTB. But nothing really happens here for a while. Things really started to change when the fight developed into this 2-fight element with Jonas and Reflex up to the north against Challenger, Fuji, and Dave. And then Breeze and Josh and Kingston down here to the south against Helldog and Grippin. So the fight went significantly better for Eclipse Task Force in both scenarios. Helldog gets taken down by Breeze. Breeze actually gets really lucky that this AIM 54 didn't come off earlier. I don't know if he just didn't get seen, picked him up in PAL or what, but he gets really lucky that this didn't come off earlier. I would have liked to see him just launch and then break away. The SD-10's inactive, so you don't need to support it. I would have liked to see him launch and then just break out to the left. Instead, he tries to commit in on Grippin. Don't do this, guys. If the guy in front of you, if you see him on data link, is hot to you, odds are that he sees you. It is not worth committing into a bandit that you have to guesstimate already sees you. He's lucky, or it works out for him that he's able to take down Helldog, so it ends up being a trade. But just break away. Try and get back over that hill, line of sight that Phoenix, and or anticipate that you're going to get launched on and already be getting slow so you can get into that notch. So he ends up taking that down, but it puts Grippin in a bad position against Kingston. Kingston sees the missile trail and actually gets really lucky that Grippin doesn't break back across and shoot one into his butt.
Right.
Because Josh Williams is off here. I don't know what Josh is doing. But he's off by himself. And Kingston gets really lucky that Grippin doesn't just recommit back into his 6. Because right here, Grippin has Kingston's 6. But
yeah, all day long.
Yeah. He gets really lucky that Grippin doesn't see him, and Grippin eats an AIM 9.
And Comey made a good point. A lot of discipline from EFT in that first round. There were a lot of moments, I think, where they held back, and it ended up benefiting them in the end. So, it's a solid observation there. They definitely showed great discipline, I think, in that first one, especially for a Diamond League map.
So that's what happened down there to the south. Here's what happened in the north. Dave gets unlucky that Fuji does not see Jonas. I don't know if he was just looking down, but you got to make sure when you're this low that you're not just glued on your data link screen. You got to be looking up. You got to be looking up and anticipating, because he probably saw him earlier. He probably knew that this guy was over here. So you got to try and get him visually and then get low and then keep track of him visually if you're going to do this, instead of just getting low and hoping you're going to see somebody. So Dave gets really unlucky that Jonas isn't seen by Fuji. But how far is this missile launched? He doesn't get unlucky in that he creates this scenario to himself, right? He comes in head-to-head against Jonas. 120s are exchanged from inside 5 miles, and he tries to support it instead of just breaking away. This missile is already active. You don't need to support this, right? It's already active, and it actually ends up hitting the ground, so Jonas does a really good job of line of sighting that missile, but he needs to break away. The missile has way more than enough energy to be able to run your ass down. He stays hot and ends up getting taken down by that 120. Then Fuji breaks through. Jonas again doesn't see him, and Fuji doesn't see him, and then he sees Reflex, but he gets sandwiched in that particular situation, gets taken down by Jonas, and this whole scenario is just a case of not seeing or having the situational awareness of what's going on. That's how this whole thing happens. It happens with Challenger down here to the south, too. Challenger actually gets hit by this 120, so that's probably why he didn't throttle up. He actually gets hit. That's why his engine RPM was really low.
That might be it there. Yeah.
He gets hit. And this whole upper northern situation is a result of just not seeing people. So landing takes place. Good landing took place from Jonas. And that's going to be it for round 1. So I'm going to send you guys back to the Syria trailer. Syria is awesome, by the way. I've flown on it for a little bit. Billy, would you say the same thing about Syria?
Oh, absolutely. It is by far the prettiest map. I mean, the ability Uber was able to do with the textures on the building. I mean, go look at the buildings in any city in PG, and then go look at the buildings in any city in Syria, and you will notice a pretty substantial difference in textures. And then just the detail on the bases. There's a substantial more amount of actual base detail that mission makers and mission creators don't have to go add in themselves at the end of the day. So I thought that was a really good move for a mover. Not to mention the labeling of everything on the map is pretty well done. They've pointed out a lot of cool, interesting stuff too. So good on them. A lot of attention to detail there, and I think that's what we all want.
A little bit of a Tokyo drift coming from Jonas there to not miss his exit. Comey says, I like this camera for the RTB. I'm trying not to waste time. Instead of, just watching people fly in a straight line, being able to go over tack view and stuff just seemed like a better idea in this situation. So I'm going to send you guys back to the trailer. The supercut is actually coming out after the match, so be sure you check that out. Alpha Whiskey got a little bit delayed, so be sure you check that out on the YouTube channel. If you guys aren't following us on YouTube, be sure to check that out. But we're going to send you back to the Syria trailer. I'm going to get round 2 set up, and we will be back with round 2, Eclipse Task Force, Golden Crown, Eclipse Task Force up 1-0. Oh, shit. Sorry, guys. I hit the wrong button. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here again, SATAL 2020, going into round 2 between Eclipse Task Force and Golden Crown. Eclipse Task Force took that first round pretty handily. 4 aircraft remaining for them. 0, obviously, remaining for Golden Crown. Or, sorry, Eclipse Task Force took that pretty handily. Golden Crown left obviously with none. Billy, what do you think the game changer there was? I think it was the development of the 2 active fronts with Eclipse Task Force just hammering and coming out totally victorious on the southern front, and on the northern one, just the complete lack of situational awareness seemingly by both sides. Which, guys, I don't want you guys to think that I think that that's them being bad pilots. That can very easily happen. I'm just saying that that's what I think caused what happened or what transpired to happen. So don't think that I'm talking negatively about anybody. It's just what I see caused, or what I think caused what went down. But Billy, what do you think was the catalyst, if you will?
I think ETF did a very good job of like Comey had pointed out earlier. There was a lot of discipline shown on that side there, and I think that benefited them pretty greatly in that match. You look at how much fuel a lot of those guys had coming down the stretch there. They all seem to manage that fight a lot better than the GC guys did. So hopefully we see maybe a little bit more apprehension with the shot choices and stuff like that out of GC, and maybe we see them stay a little bit closer, a little bit tighter to cover each other in those situations, and I hope we see a little bit more conservation on the Phoenix shots. I know we saw, what would we say, 6 to 8 in the first, I think
there were a lot
minute to 2 minutes of that
there
engagement
were
really
lot.
beginning. So
a lot.
Yeah, I think we were expecting that, but we point this out, that the Phoenixes tend to be a big thing in the first round, and then someone ends up getting clipped or caught in the second round because they're not thinking about it as much. So curious what we see on that front as well there too. And then also an interesting note, 44% of the bets went to ETF on that one. So majority of the chat leaning towards GC on that first round. I'm curious how we see that shift. Just based upon what we saw at ETF in that first round.
I didn't pay too much attention to that. I haven't seen who people are betting on. But let's jump back into the sim. These guys are still taxing. It was a long time to wait. I don't know if there was connection issues or what, but 45 minutes from server time restart to when these guys are getting going. But we're going to jump back in, see how these guys are going to get on, and if Golden Crown is going to be able to come back and equalize this at 1-1. Guys, just to recap what happened and why we're not showcasing all the rounds. Round 1, the reason I'm telling you this instead of just showcasing the other 2 and then telling you is because it happened in round 1. So round 1, there was some issues that caused the round to effectively go to what ended up happening, to be nullified, if you will. So it is what it is. So we're gonna we nullified it, and we've moved on, and we just didn't fly it, and now they're flying the next 2. So that's what's going on. These guys are just finishing lining up. Again, it's 2 14s for Eclipse Task Force, 2 JF-17s for them, and 2 18s, 4 Tomcats for Golden Crown, and 2 18s for them as well. Man Bear Pig says, this game can get quite expensive quickly. Dude, yes, it can.
Welcome to the party. It's an expensive one.
Silver Phoenix says, well, TAC-View just backed off and didn't let me save the last round's TAC-View. You can grab it from the splash1gaming.com website. If you go to the match page, so if you find this match in the schedule, you can actually just go there, highlight the link, paste it in your browser, and download it directly. So you don't need to get the tracks or anything like that from when we watch them here. You guys can get them, anytime. Just go to the website and you can grab them there. Combs with his Xbox controller. Combs actually used to fly with an Xbox controller rather effectively. Very effectively.
I mean, you could do it, but how efficient can you be is a whole other question.
Yeah, I won't say that he was efficient, but he was good with it, not efficient.
Effective is one thing. Efficient is a whole other debate.
Got to talk to my wife and see what she wants for lunch.
Talk to Uber Eats and see what I want for lunch.
Pizza sounds decently good today.
It does. It does. It's like I said, it's gnarly raining outside, so I don't think I'm leaving. I'm ordering something. I don't know what it's gonna be.
Do you ever cook, Billy?
No, very rarely. Here and there, here and there. Not a big fan of cooking.
I'm buying you guys
Occasionally.
lunch? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I guess my wife says sure for pizza for lunch. Anything going on with anybody in chat? Anything new with anybody's life? What does everybody think of Syria? I mean, we've seen the Syria trailer happen a couple times. What is everybody's thoughts on it? What does everybody think? I'm really enjoying it, though I haven't been able to play PvP much on it.
There's some stretches to the north that offer these, like, I was calling them micro hills, but you can dive down and disappear on data link very quickly. I mean, you have to kind of maneuver very fast down there, and you have to be on your toes.
Mm-hmm.
But you can disappear, you can trash a missile and be right back up. It's pretty remarkable. It's like how it almost looks like it's low-lying flat land, but really there's a lot of these little divots and holes you can kind of dip into and get away from somebody who's chasing you. It's a
what was I gonna
interesting
say?
landscape for the dogfight.
Has anybody noticed that the tree slider on Syria doesn't work? It doesn't seem. Yeah, the tree slider doesn't seem to work for me.
I'm guessing and I thought there was new tree tech in this map that's specifically on Syria, that I believe Nick Gray had talked about in a previous interview or post or something. And maybe that has something to do with it, because I know that the amount of trees and the level of detail in the trees, there's no way they're doing it the same as they're doing it on some of these other maps.
Well, maybe, because when I get low, so when I fly high or medium altitude, I can get like 140 FPS, 120, 140 at 1440p. When I get low, it drops to like 70 or 80. So there is a significant tree lot. Now, that was with default shadows. That wasn't with flat shadows. That was default shadows. So maybe that very well.
Yeah, that may have
could have been my issue
as well.
Somebody said, where is that? Lemon Shark says he found out his wife is pregnant. Well, I'm happy you're not pregnant, but congratulations. It's always fantastic to welcome a new one into the world. That's really exciting. Hopefully that all goes well. Excited for you. Again, congratulations. Gutter King says, found out that his wife is pregnant with their first. So congratulations to you too. Lots of new babies. I guess it is that time. People get stuck in the inside winter, nothing else to do, you know. Why not?
Yep.
Do what nature calls.
Usually, about that time. I know I'm about to be pregnant with a food baby here in a little bit.
I thought we were going to hear about Billy's sex life, and I was like,
no,
Billy, we don't need to hear about that.
No. I mean, we already talked about it. There's mustache rides flowing everywhere around here. Don't you worry about that.
I don't think that's how pregnancy works.
Ooh, maybe I had that bad. Well, there goes that idea.
Oh. What else has happened? So Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 launched. Lots of people have been flying over their houses, trying to figure out what that's all about. The graphics look amazing. Anything weird going on with?
I mean, yeah, there's been definitely some. I've seen some pretty comical stuff. I think it all depends on like your internet too. Like if your internet cuts, it can like cut what the algorithm is rendering in some areas, so you'll get there and it's just not right. I'm not exactly sure. I've seen a couple different posts on it. I really haven't experienced too much of that. I've definitely seen a couple little oddities. I know it struggles to really get the amount of like verts for circular stuff, right? Like curves, right? You see a lot of like blocky, chunky looking curves, if you will. So that was one thing I kind of observed a bit of. But for the most part, it's been a ton of fun. I've been doing like a little online air manager thing where, doing
what's that?
Kind of like career mode for 2020, if you will, where you're running a company and you have to pick up cargo in one spot, bring it to another.
Is that part of the game?
No, it's a separate like third-party software that you run through it. It's pretty cool though. It's rather in-depth. Offers a lot of different things you gotta can't have to really kind of abide by the rules and regulations of the air and all that stuff. So Yeah, it's different. It's a different experience for you. It's, after flying 2020 for several months while testing it and not really having any task or purpose in there, it kind of gets to DCS where you've done it a lot. If you don't really have something specific to go do, it can become kind of trivial really fast. But when you add in a little layer of like, hey, I'm working on building this up or creating this or doing that, it tends to add, at least for me, it adds the fun in. I can only fly around in circles for so long.
Yeah. Gives you an objective
yeah, task and purpose, man. Task and purpose is what DCS needs more of that.
So Eclipse Task Force was winning option with 44% of the bets. Okay, so people think Eclipse Task Force is going to come out with this one. All right. How is it only 44%?
Yeah, I don't know if it could be the winning option with less than 50. That something doesn't seem right.
How does that work?
Oh no, they won. I'm sorry. I now I'm reading that. They won the match, but they only had 44% of the vote. So they were the underdog according to the fans of the first round, but they won the match. I believe is what he said.
Well, Urutarman says there's also a draw option.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think I'm confused, and I'm just confusing everybody else along with my confusion. Okay.
Spoiler alert: Billy wins. I like it. Sounds.
So we're just sitting here on the ground waiting for Eclipse Task Force's Trail 2 ship to depart. Looks like they took it the right way to conserve fuel and are just getting that separation with the guys as they come in, instead of flying, turning around, and coming back in that way. Again, for anybody just joining us, this is Diamond League for SATAL 2020. We haven't seen Diamond League in the past couple months because things have been having to be redone. Schedule was had to be redone because people left and made things complicated.
Wouldn't be SATAL if people weren't making things complicated now, would it be?
No, it wouldn't be SATAL if Moltar wasn't having to do more work.
Right. Yeah, it's probably where the gray in that roundabout's talking from the beard there. I don't know if I see it, but he's claiming he's seeing a little gray in the beard there.
Oh, dude, I got a ton of gray in my beard.
it's all that SATAL stress.
Probably. Xander says, Pro Strat, don't have the last two take off when the 4 ship in the front wins your team wins instant. Yeah, if you can make that happen, you definitely don't have to worry about RTB.
It's a gamble.
The real question is, what did I eat from McDonald's? I had a Egg McMuffin and 2 hash browns.
Okay,
McDonald's breakfast is solid. You know,
it really is.
People dog on them, but their breakfast is
pretty
pretty solid.
Yeah, of all the fast food places, I think McDonald's is the breakfast champ. There's no doubt.
It is, and their hash browns, man. Especially when they're a little extra crispy.
Dude.
Really?
Just the regular. Even I've crushed quite a few just pancakes from McDonald's at the end of the day. It's probably all terrible for me, but it doesn't taste terrible.
Their breakfast actually isn't that bad for you, calorically or,
really?
no. Well, at least the Egg McMuffin.
Well, good guy McDonald's not trying to kill me with
the chicken biscuit from McDonald's is actually pretty good.
Interesting.
You're
I'm a big Chick-fil-A breakfast guy. I do enjoy
it. It tastes pretty similar, in all honesty.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Not quite as good as Chick-fil-A's, but it's pretty similar. I asked my wife if she could bring me some food, and she said, nope, my legs aren't working right now, and I thought she was joking. But I haven't gotten any food yet, so I'm pretty sure she was serious.
Yeah, that's going to slow you down a little bit, right?
I guess so. Your legs don't work. It could be a problem.
Yeah, no, you're going to struggle moving at that point. I think at least around.
Navy Doc says Popeye's pickin' chicken sandwich sucks. I've never eaten a Popeye's.
I mean, Popeyes is good. It really depends on the location itself. Like some Popeyes are better than others. I don't know. I'm a Chick-fil-A guy at the end of the day, but I'll fucks with some Popeyes if it's around. But you got to make sure you get the water with those biscuits, otherwise you're gonna.
Yeah, that is true. You do get thirsty. But they are good. Macy's
Indeed.
Breakfast. Is that like the Macy's department store?
Yeah. What's that?
What is that? Task Force Trident said famous last words is actually not that bad for you. I didn't say it was actively good for you, but, you know. My problem with Chick-fil-A is every time I want Chick-fil-A, it's Sunday.
It's Sunday, yeah.
Every time.
That's a big problem. It's a big problem. It's my biggest gripe with Chick-fil-A is the Sunday thing. Everything else.
I mean, I respect them for it, but every time it's Mother Truckin' Sunday.
Their ability to make their drive-thru experience as efficient as possible is just downright impressive. Like I'll pull up and I'm like, there's a million people here. It's gonna take me an hour to get my food, and like 2 minutes later, I'm like driving out with my meal, and I don't understand how I got it that quickly. You know, it's like one of those things.
Any predictions for how this match is gonna go? You think the Phoenix is gonna be more effective?
I'm gonna say we see less Phoenixes in the first few minutes, but I don't know. That's a gamble on my part there by any stretch of it.
I'm gonna say we're gonna see more. Just to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah, why not?
Imagine living in Germany where everything is closed on Sundays.
Is that true? I didn't realize that.
I understand it. I get it. I mean, I could get behind it, I guess. Force me to eat healthy for at least one day.
I don't know. I mean, what if you eat healthy every day? Why should you not have the option to go eat healthy on Sunday?
Because I'm forced to eat healthy on Sunday.
I get it, because you're saying because Chick-fil-A is not available. Yeah.
Oh, we're going because Chick-fil-A is not available. There's not a Chick-fil-A necessarily all that close to me. The closest one's like 25 minutes away.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
so
gonna make.
I like Chick-fil-A. I just.
Awesome.
It's not a quick something I can grab quickly. The only things that I can grab quickly are McDonald's, Burger King, Arby's, and Taco Bell are really my only close, quick options
Arby's
for
got
where I
that
live.
good French dip. French dip's pretty
Yeah,
fire.
it's all right.
We've like all of a sudden around me, there's like a million of these poke bowl places where they basically just put a bunch of sushi in a bowl with rice. It's just like raw fish, you know, the trimmings and some sort of base carb or whatever, like noodles or rice. Or it's interesting. It's different.
We don't have any of that stuff really here.
I saw it when I was visiting somewhere a while back. I think West Coast, and then all of a sudden now it's just like here, everywhere.
All right, I am actually now starving, so I'm going to step away for a second and grab some food. Billy's going to entertain you, but I will be right back because I'm actually really hungry.
All right. Well, they're approaching the outer edge, I believe, of the bubble here as we see these guys begin to make their way downtown. Hoping we see some a little bit of conservation on the shots. You know, I think we were just discussing how much we saw the Phoenixes kind of start flying in the opening rounds of that. So hopefully they kind of stem that a little bit and maneuver in, maybe try to get a little bit better of an angle on a shot than some of those lob ones we saw. I just think it's difficult to score a good kill on these lob shots here. I mean, we see it happen, but the percentages I think are lower than I think a lot of guys shooting those shots would like them to. So I don't know. We'll see. That first round was pretty interesting. I think it went down a little bit quicker than most of us were expecting. Where's everybody putting their money at on this one? Are we seeing people stick with GC after they were clearly I think the favorite, not by much, but by enough in that first one? We'll see. Curious if maybe the money shifted to ETF. I know last week we saw the money. Or not the money, but the points significantly shift mid-round there as the one team kind of showed to be a bit more in control than the other.
I'm back.
What you got? What'd you get there?
Chocolate covered pretzels.
There you go. There you
Oh
go.
my
That'll
God.
do it.
They're so good. They're from Costco.
Interesting. Okay.
They are amazing.
Noted.
They're dark chocolate instead of milk chocolate, so they're more savory.
Okay.
I just needed something. I was struggling.
The feeling I'm getting there myself.
Really struggling. All right. Team separation is down to 80 miles. Grippen's leading the way for Golden Crown. And a 4-ship of 2 14s and 2 17s is leading the way for Eclipse Task Force. And Kingston and Josh both launching MK60s from 65 miles. That's a long way.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, they can be effective. You guys are going to have to deal with me eating for a minute. I don't think the mic's picking up very much of it, but
a little in there, not much. So you good.
We're going to go to split view so you guys can see what's going on. But 2 MK60s coming in from Josh Willis in Kingston. Grippen launches it 2 MK60s now, so he's down to 2. I don't like these long launches.
I don't either. I mean, it's just low probability. I mean, I get it. You want to break up what's kind of coming at you a little bit. Maybe one, but I just think the 2 shots, I don't know. In this case, there's a lot more Phoenixes in play. And a long SD-10 shot, that one is suspect. I don't know how that's going to
I don't know what that is.
I didn't check its parameters. Even,
because you can tell it's not an SD-10. Or it's not a Phoenix. Because the Phoenix show up is unknown.
Right. It's definitely getting a pretty good loft to it. There's no doubt. I think it's that Alpha Whiskey. I'm not positive.
This missile got notched. The one coming in against Grippen. So they're just not. They're not tracking very well.
All you're doing is moving people. And you have to ask yourself, do I want to move people in different directions right now? Sometimes you want to let the bull run straight at that red cape, like you see, like the Matador, right? You want them to run straight through what you kind of have there, so you can kind of, maneuver a little bit differently there and end up in a better shot to shoot.
Well, actually, that SD-10,
it is
still
actually tracking pretty good. I was gonna say, I was curious what his parameters were.
It was at 1,800 knots still. By the time it was getting close to Alpha Whiskey.
Must have been fast when you ripped it. But even so, Alpha Whiskey experienced enough to know how to get away from that and how to not get clipped by that. Another Phoenix out from Helldog here. He is fairly low though. That could be a loft shot?
Boring music. Like yeah, I don't. So I totally understand, guys. And I'm gonna have one more of these, and then I got to put them down because they're addicting. I understand the long shots because you're trying to get a bandit to react. You're trying to get him to come down from 40,000 feet so that he can't impart as much energy onto his missiles as you can. And I understand why you launch from 65 miles because obviously you too have to defend the Mark 60s that their Tomcats can launch. But at the end of the day, you're removing the possibility of having those weapons into the late game. So I would rather, STT people. See if the STT lock is enough to get people to react and do stuff like that instead of honestly wasting a weapon.
Agreed.
Or use an AIM-7. Does the AIM-7 show up as unidentified or missile? It won't actually show up. Use an AIM-7.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. Fake the missile launch warning.
Did Josh Willis really flank as far south as he did? Because if so, I didn't even notice him down there.
Yeah, I didn't either. Somebody asked, is there a Moltar fan club on the internet? Not to my knowledge. Billy and I have talked about doing an OnlyFans for a fan club, but I just, I don't know how much people would really enjoy that. Seeing my lard ass rolling around. Maybe.
You can PayPal me as if it's OnlyFans though.
Yeah, we can do that.
For sure.
I'll gladly do that.
I mean, I'll send mustache hairs, but not a lot, like 1 or 2.
I'm already going bald, so I really don't have any hair to be able to send somebody. Josh Willis puts a 154 onto Grippen. That was a better launch from 32 miles, but he's launching on somebody that They need to recognize that these 54 launches are not effective. It just doesn't. And now Grippen's he's notching. So let's take a look at what he's doing. Yeah, he's getting in low now. Not very slow, but you don't have to be very slow to be able to notch these things. There goes the chaff. There's the missile. He line of sights it anyway. Just more defensive in this round, Billy. Much more defensive this round.
Indeed.
So, how do you think? I think this is going to come down to, it's going to start up here to the south. I think this is where everything's going to start happening, and things are just going to go once they do. We're starting to get into range where things are starting to get undodgeable, and I think this is where things are going to start developing. So Helldog was in here pressing onto Riker and Breeze. Now Alpha Whiskey's taking up that mantle. Alpha Whiskey is at 7,000 feet.
Yeah, a lot of terrain being used in this one right here. This is interesting. Everybody down low for the most part, with the exception of those guys to the south near Siamond.
So Alpha Whiskey's getting in. I'm a little worried about him getting in this deep. He's got an SD-10 coming on him from his right. It's now head on. It's going to be from Breeze somewhere. There it is. Woo! Butt pucker moment. He drives that into the ground. Helldog at the same time is ingressing into this fight. So we're going to grab Helldog on the right now. Alpha Whiskey's now breaking away. And now Helldog's got a 2-ship coming in on him. SD-10 on Whiskey. Helldog has a 2-ship on him. I think it's going to be Breeze coming in against Helldog. Where's Helldog? I don't see him. Where's Helldog? So Breeze doesn't see Helldog. Riker sees him, though. And Riker sends an SD-10 at Helldog, and I think that's going to connect. And Helldog gets taken down. So Helldog gets demolished by an SD-10 coming from Riker. And now Alpha Whiskey's getting in here pretty deep. Alpha Whiskey is now recommitting onto Breeze. We still have Whiskey on the left.
With Riker coming around to that JF-17, he is in a very precarious position, and now a 120.
Yeah, is he going to be able to do anything against that?
I don't know if that's going to.
I don't think so. Oh, and he gets pounded.
He went right around the corner.
Yeah, I guess he probably just didn't get the missile warning, and he gets smashed by that 120 coming in and hits him right in the face. And taking a facial just is not pleasant. But now you've got Breeze coming in against Fuji. Alpha Whiskey is still way in here.
Challenger there.
Breeze looks like he's in a pretty good position against Fuji. Alpha Whiskey looks like he's getting to a position where he's merged with Jonas. So we're going to go to split screen. We've got Jonas on the right. Alpha Whiskey's right off his front. I don't see who Breeze is chasing. There's Fuji, who Breeze is chasing. We're going to go back to the radar view over here on the left, and I think Alpha Whiskey actually got taken down somewhere. We missed it, but he got taken down.
He hit the ground there? The JF-17, I think, just ground collided.
Yeah, I think he did. Some strange stuff going on. Let's pause it just so I can take stock in what's going on after all of that. So we've got 3 pilots remaining for Golden Crown, 3 remaining for Eclipse Task Force. So Aspen, Jonas, and Kingston remaining for Eclipse Task Force, and Challenger, Dave, and Fuji remaining for Golden Crown. Now, Billy, given the situation that we see ourselves in right now with how everybody's aligned, I like Golden Crown's positioning a bit more, though I like Aspen's positioning in relation to Challenger as we see it here now. Oh, Alpha Whiskey crashed. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, no, is it Alpha Whiskey?
Alpha Whiskey and Breeze, I think, both crashed.
It was Riker crashed, I think. No, was it Breeze? It was Breeze. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Riker got shot down. Breeze crashes, and then it looks like Alpha Whiskey crashed.
So Breeze and Alpha Whiskey, I think, got taken down. There could be some track desync where they could have gotten shot. The TAC view may show that a little bit differently, but I don't know. So right now we've got these 3 guys remaining and these 3 guys remaining. Looks like a 120 just came off the rail from Aspen onto Challenger, and Challenger is going to be in a pretty poor position. He's actually vertical at 450 knots. This is going to be rough. This is not a great position to be in.
Yeah, that's not gonna end well.
I can't see where Aspen is. Aspen's at 10,000 feet, so he's roughly level, but I don't see his. There he is. So the 120 is 2.5 miles away. Same altitude. Challenger's. This is rough. Yes.
Looking at it in the TAC view is almost comical because all of the telemetry is just splayed out in front of you, and it doesn't add up well. Yep. Your altitude, speed, G, the whole thing. He's either going to knock himself out or hit the ground, one of the two.
All right, so let's hit play. Challenger's in a pretty bad position. This is a 3v3 still remaining here. Let's hit play and see how this is going to unfold. Here we go. So he's able to line of sight and chaff that 120
man.
From 4 miles. Oh, no, he didn't. He got taken down. Or he over-G'd his aircraft, so he actually gets taken down. That's unfortunate. I guess he over-G'd pulling out there. I mean, if you pull out too hard, Billy, it's never a good time.
Yeah, I mean, when you paused it, he was at over 6 Gs right there to begin with, so he was already pulling it pretty hard, and that's a lot of Gs.
Oh, and Golden Crown actually had 4 remaining. Griffin was down here doing God knows what down here to the south.
He had been fighting somebody down there. I'm not sure who from ETF was down there. It was Josh, I think. Maybe had flanked around to the south there, and I think he vectored off from the main group to try to deal with him, and it looks like he took care of him.
So let's take a look at the map so you guys can see what's going on. Kingston's now in a pretty poor position against Fuji. We're going to go to split view so you can see this. Dave also put a shot on him. Kingston has 2 missiles coming in on him. Is one of these going to make it over the mountain? Doesn't look like it. So he's ingressing against Fuji. Fuji is just over the next ridge. Fuji has recommitted. They're now in a head-on incursion here. 120 now released from Fuji, coming in on Kingston, and he gets hit, but he's smoking, so his aircraft... Oh, he lost engines. So he is effectively done, but I don't know that Dave knows that. Dave put a couple 120s on him, and I don't see it. I don't see it yet. There's one coming. It's on his left. Right there. So it actually flies right by him. I don't know what happened there, but Dave is dead. And here comes another one. Here comes another one from Dave. And this one's going to finish him. And boop. Yep. So Eclipse Task Force's Kingston gets taken down, and we're now down to a... Is this a...
2v2?
No.
3v2.
I think this is a 3v2 now. And we've got Fuji with a missile incoming on him. Dave with the missile on him. So let's go back to the map here so you guys can see what's going on. Fuji's got missiles. Dave's got missiles. So you get a missile. You get a missile. And Golden Crown's 2 guys up here to the north are now defensive. And Griffin is just off on a merry voyage. I don't know what he's doing. But Aspen is now ingressing onto Fuji. And Fuji is ingressing onto him. So we're going to show it from both these guys' perspectives. Fuji's on the left, Aspen's on the right. Aspen actually breaks away, so we're going to flip to the map now. Still a 3v2. Fuji is chasing Aspen, who's on the other side of this ridge. Does he see him, though? Not yet. Not yet. And now still doesn't see him. Still doesn't see him. Maybe he does now. And now we've got Jonas ingressing against Dave. 120 now coming from Fuji. And 120 launch from Jonas. Aim 9 coming in there. So Dave had to defend. And let's actually go to Aspen's perspective over here. So 120's chasing Aspen. Don't think it's going to be able to catch him. Nope, that's done. And now we've got a merge coming between Jonas and Dave now. So we're going to try and keep track of both of these. Jonas and Dave are on the right. Fuji's merge is on the left. Let's flip back to the map view on the left so you guys can have a better view of what's going on. So Aspen's able to get away from Fuji. And now Dave is on the offensive. But I don't think Dave sees anybody. These guys just don't see anyone. Oh, but 120 coming in on Dave. And Dave
somehow gets away from that?
Gets away. I don't know how that happened.
It was close. I mean, it was very close for a 120. The 9, I'm more mystified how he got away from it. It may have just been some flares. I had a nameplate blocking on.
And now Jonas has an aim 9 coming on him. So there's just like a train of different things going on. Dave puts a 120 onto Grippin, but now Jonas has a missile coming on him. He gets taken down.
It's happening fast.
And we've now just got Grippin and Fuji remaining. Aspen is the only one remaining for Eclipse Task Force. So we're going to grab Aspen now.
Or 2v1 here? Yeah, 2v1.
And Grippin's just been, like, out of it for a while. Fuel has got to be a problem here. It's got to be a problem. Split screen now. Fuji on the left, Aspen on the right, coming in a head-on incursion. 120 was launched from too close. It tried to track, but wasn't able to do it. I have no idea where Grippin is in this situation. Looks like Aspen's got the turn. No. Fuji's got the advantage here. Drops a couple flares just in case.
There are missiles, countermeasures, and planes everywhere in like a 10-foot phone booth size space here.
But these guys just don't see each other. They're merged and they don't see each other. I don't know where Grippin is. Looks like Aspen's able to put a 120 out on somebody. I'm going to assume that's on Grippin. It's on Grippin, and Grippin actually runs. He gets away from it. Did he?
I don't know. I think that may have hit him. I think he's going into the ground.
Nope,
there.
He gets away from that.
Maybe not. Oh, yeah, wow.
And at the same time, yeah, Grippin's able to get away from that. So now Grippin is being chased by Aspen, and Fuji is I think it's Fuji. Somebody's bringing up the trail. So now Grippin's being chased by Aspen. Guns coming out from Aspen. Is he able to stay on target now? He gets a couple rounds on target. He may overshoot as Grippin. He does, but he lands a few more rounds. And at the same time, Grippin gets hit.
Did we just see a team kill there?
I don't know.
Yeah, we did.
And now it's Fuji against Aspen, and the 120 aim 9 that he launched just barely misses. It tries to track him, and I think both of these guys are out of missiles. We're down to M61 only. Fuji's in the driver's seat coming in here. M61 launched, no hits on target.
Ow.
A few rounds or flares, countermeasures expended there. Are these guys able to stay out of the treetops? It looks like it. Energy's doing decently well, but both over 300 knots, so both doing decently well in this scenario. Nobody getting too dangerously low. But Fuji's definitely in the driver's seat. Is Aspen going to be able to force an overshoot? He's making himself a big target. Fuji's trying to be careful and conserve rounds instead of wasting them all. Aspen, something I will note here, ladies and gentlemen, is that he's been in gate a significantly longer period of time than Fuji.
Yeah.
Fuji's been conserving his energy a bit better. But Aspen is fighting for his life. Mystic Aim 9 is still in the air. Another M61 shot being launched by Fuji. Nothing connects. Fuji's now in blower, 300 knots. Aspen's still doing a decent job. Don't come across his nose. You're solving all the telemetry. No. Oh, but so Fuji isn't able to convert on it. But now he's a big target. Fuji just doesn't have the available AOA to be able to convert. And Aspen again coming across the nose, but I think he's going to be able to force this into a scissor. He may be trying to get into cause the overshoot. It's getting pretty close. But Fuji's staying behind him a bit, doing a decent job of staying behind him. But Fuji's getting slow, Billy. 200 knots. Aspen's still right around 300 knots. Another M61 burst comes out. Doesn't connect. Fuel has got to be critical.
I feel like Aspen's just trying to work him to death here, and he's doing a pretty decent job of it at this point. He knows he's only got guns left, and he's really making it hard for him to get that gun solution.
I saw a couple rounds hit, but I don't think it was enough to cause anything. Aspen goes low. Is he going to pull out of that? Yes. So he's able to get away from that. Fuji's got to be rough on gun. Misses again. And we may have the overshoot. Are we going to see an overshoot? Guns come on. And I think that's going to be it for Aspen. Fuji's able to take him down.
There you go. Hard work pays off. Way to stay with it there, Fuji.
So we're missing both of the horizontal stabs from Aspen. But he's still in it. Sort of. He's wallowing. Now he's in a Cobra maneuver. Unintentional. With no way to get out of it.
Talking about refusing to die. Ooh, man, he's just holding on to his sweet dear life right there, man.
Flames spewing from the back of his aircraft. And I think this is going to be it. He flipped over. And ground is going to claim another victim. Boom! And he gets taken down. So what a finale here. But now the question is, does Fuji have the fuel?
It's definitely an interesting question here. He used that aircraft. He pushed that thing to the limit for a majority of that fight there. How well he was able to conserve is another question. I mean, it looks like he's trying to get altitude right now as he's being fairly conservative with his engine use from look.
But remember, Billy, the Hornet, she does not glide.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't. You
At
can
all.
get all the altitude you want. And if that thing shuts down, you're falling out of the sky like a rock. The computer is tied to having energy from that engine to be able to tell the FCS how to keep the airframe moving through the air as efficiently as possible. So once that computer is killed, can't articulate the surfaces to stay afloat, and yeah, you're falling out of the sky quick.
Well, the AIM-9 guys, that's just a phantom. You guys can't actually see because I'm not showing you. The AIM-9's a phantom. It doesn't exist. What a fight.
Indeed.
I needed more chocolate. I don't think he makes it back.
I mean, difficult to say at this point, but it definitely looks like it could be tough.
I don't think he makes it back. He's at 93% RPM, which is okay, but he's got over 100 miles to go. I just don't see this happening.
Yeah, that one's going to be
He's now down to 86 and slowing down at 25,000 feet. There go his pylons. I was just going to say he needs to jettison his pylons. I just can't see it. Can't see it. But while he's playing the fuel game to try and make it back, let's bring up the TAC view and see what's going to happen here. I think he's got a little bit of time left. But let's bring up the TAC view, see what actually unfolded here. Turn that down a right bit. All right. So tac view's up. Let's see. Nothing happens here for a while. A couple guys crashed here early. Phoenixes again. It was the same story. Same story with the Phoenix. I don't know. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Hold on. You guys can't see the... Tech view. There we go. So now you guys can see it. So same story with the Phoenix. Lots of long Phoenix shots. And nothing was really a factor. The fight really got started when people started crashing. Is when everything started happening.
Pretty
You
much,
had
yeah, that's
Alpha
kinda
Whiskey
where it's
crash and Breeze crashed. Where is Breeze? Is up here.
I think Riker, Breeze, Alpha Whiskey, and one other all go down in the span of about 30 to 40 seconds.
Yeah. So this was when Riker got hit, and Riker just, I guess he didn't see this 120. He turns, he doesn't get the missile warning. It just turns right into him, and it just smashes him in the face. So you can see it coming.
Yeah, I think that hill there, that valley is just
Yeah.
it's just bad luck there as it was able to maneuver into position.
Mm-hmm.
I think elevation from the missile coming down at him may have played a little bit into that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he the moment he turns that corner, the sucker's just waiting for him.
Yep. And this, I think, is where Breeze crashes. Yep, Breeze crashes here.
Right.
And Alpha Whiskey just crashed. So he crashes. So both these guys are struggling with the crashes, and I don't know if they're just hitting the ground, disconnecting, or what's going on. Challenger now gets hit by an AIM 120. So he gets taken down. These are good, deadly shots. Challenger just gets caught a bit too high in a valley. He's not low enough to do anything effective. He notches that missile, but I think he over-Gs his aircraft right here when he pulls right there. And he just over-Gs it. He's too fast to be able to get out of it. He gets taken down. And now we're down to a 2v3. So Golden, or sorry, 3v3, because Grippen's down here. I don't know what Grippen's doing. Maybe he was low on fuel, and they were trying to keep him down there to RTB if they won. Maybe that's what was going on.
Certainly a possibility. I really think he got separated out in the beginning to deal with Josh, and I just think he maybe was trying to size up what was going on from ETF as he ingressed back towards the other or the rest of the group. Either way, it was strange. After he deals with him to the south, it does seem like it takes a long time for him to really get back into the fight and engage.
Now, something I gotta point out is I do not like this recommit from Eclipse Task Force. Ingress together. There's no reason to do this one-on-one. Absolutely no reason. So I would have liked to see Kingston recommit with Aspen and Jonas, but he just commits by himself into a 50-50 and ends up getting taken down, which is really unfortunate. So if he would have committed together and waited for Aspen and Jonas, this would have been a 3v2 and could have gone very differently than it ended up being. So instead of Kingston getting taken down, they could have taken each one of these guys down in a 1v1 fight or a 1v3 fight. So instead, he gets taken down, and it ends up being a 2v2. And now Aspen just breaks away with Fuji now all over him. And then I think we descend at this point into a complete lack of situational awareness, which is probably because they were flying low in high mountains, which you're not going to get good data link. But a big thing here is making sure that you've got somebody that's high and away from the fight that's able to look down and provide PPLI in these situations. So Aspen ends up coming on the 6 of Dave. He gets taken down, but at the same time, Jonas gets taken down by Name 9. Now we're down to a 2v1. Aspen does really well about staying alive. He's able to take Grippen down with Fuji behind him. So Grippen gets taken down finally, and now it's a 1v1 between Aspen and Fuji. And Aspen does really well at staying alive, but he's never able to reverse it to a point where he causes Fuji to overshoot, and he's just constantly on the defensive throughout this entire incursion. And if you're always on the defensive, the only way you're going to get out of that if the other guy crashes. Oh, was that a team kill?
Yeah, I believe there was. At the end there, it looked like there was a team kill. Fuji, I believe, kills.
No, it doesn't look like it. Yes, it was. Yeah, it was. So Fuji does hit Gripen, which is that's part of the problem of putting missiles into a merge. You got to wait or tell your guy to break off and just get the hell out of it. Lock the other guy in STT. Force him to go defensive on his own instead of just putting AIM-9s in there. Use your radar to spoof people. So the team kill does happen, which is unfortunate, but Fuji redeems himself and is able to take down Aspen eventually. But the question then becomes, Billy, is if that team kill didn't happen, would they have had enough fuel to be able to make it back?
No, I questioned with the way this went with it, specifically.
I mean,
how
we're still watching them RTB, but would fuel have been less of a question?
I really think how hard of fighting was done at specifically such a low altitude here really contributed to them just bleeding through fuel at a pretty high rate. I think that we may see the Hornet make it back, but I think that's just due to how efficient that plane might be at the end of the day. It really looked like a lot of these guys were really hammering the throttle down and low there. But that's all necessary stuff in the moment. It's just trying to make it back on that is a challenging thing. That's you're not going to leave yourself with a lot of room at the end of the day when you have to fight like that low.
So let's take a look and see how far he's got to go. 75 miles. 82% engine RPM. My wife failed me. She said we were going to eat pizza, and now she's up there eating lunch on her own.
Ruh-roh. Yeah, I think I might do a little pizza and then a nap. I'm feeling a nap.
I can never nap. I'm not a napper.
I occasionally stick a nap in there here and there.
But anyway. Still 70 miles to go. Or 70. And I don't see him making it back. Is Aquaman? Is my voice bad? You hear me twice. Why do you hear me twice?
It looks like the voices are screwed up.
Maybe it's the scene. Hold on. Is that better? Better? All right. It was just the scene.
I only heard you say, "Is that better?" and it sounded fine, so I'm guessing everything's good. Yeah.
It's the scene. So I'll have to fix that later. Sounds like the scene has 2 audio sources. And he ran out of fuel. He didn't make it back. Uh-oh. So he didn't end up making it back.
Does this end in a draw?
Yep.
And a draw. And fuel does it again, man. Fuel planning is...
Oh, he says connection timeout. Oh, that's even worse. No. Man.
Oof.
That is rough.
Yep.
That is so rough.
The internet undefeated once again.
Man, internet claimed multiple victims today. That sucks. But that ended up in a draw. What a round that was, Billy. I mean,
I'll tell you what. These when these teams sit down and decide where in the locations of these matches and stuff, I'm telling you, the fuel planning needs to be more of a thought process with a lot of these teams, because I think we've seen on multiple times teams are not prepared to go in and fight at the distances they're choosing to go in and fight at, and that to me is telling that strategy needs to change based upon the fact that these guys are choosing these length of matches, right? Yeah. So hopefully we see teams start to get a better handle on that. I know that's some stuff I think that's just going to take time and experience to kind of figure out, but hopefully these teams start to get a better handle on that here soon. Because we're seeing a lot of that, seeing a lot of guys ready to run. I mean, obviously not the case here, but a lot of running out of gas lately.
Yeah. I think he may have made it back, but disconnect and stuff, it's part of the thing. We can only do so much, and if we had to restart rounds every time somebody disconnected, it would be
right. And you just can't.
It's not worth it. I can't. It's an international competition. There's only so much I can do about it. It is unfortunate. So I've tried to centralize the server as best as I can. The server's in Germany. I'm going to try maybe and do multiple servers next year, but it becomes a problem then of who gets the better connection, so on and so forth. So real quick catch up. Will drop 9 bits and then 5 bits. Much appreciated, brother. And then I think I missed Comey dropping another 64 bits. So thank you for that. It goes straight in the war chest and doing things to make the stream better. In this case, getting more RAM. because I max out RAM running multiple clients, and if I run a third client, it gets even worse. But real quick, news, hardware industry stuff. This isn't really the flight sim, but we're getting more news on the NVIDIA GPUs. And man, I've heard inklings that 3090 is going to have 24 gigs of VRAM.
Interesting. And they're saying what, 16 or 1700, or is it $1,500 price range?
I think 13, 14. I don't know.
But they said that's going to be
sure.
the 3090. I think they're saying is going to end up being the Titan, right? The equivalency to the Titan. I think.
I'm not entirely sure. I don't
think anyone is, to be honest with you. I think everyone's kind of speculating at the moment.
Yeah.
No word on TIs, right?
Nope. But we don't know if the 3090 is going to replace the TI. I mean, I don't know. We're not entirely sure. I have no idea what's going to happen. So,
I might just stick with the 3080 and a new processor. I don't know. I want to do a little bit more research here, but it's time. New build for me coming here in the next couple months, I'd assume.
All right, so who is flying next? Let's take a look and see who our next round is. Our next round is going to be 64th Aggressors taking on Phoenix Task Force. That's going to be coming at you Saturday. That's my squadron. I did not fly in that round.
Not my squadron. No, it's Moltar squadron.
That's what I fly for. Is the 64th Aggressors. So we are competing in this tournament. I did not fly in that round. That'll be happening on Saturday. And then next Tuesday is going to be, we're on the next page. Next Tuesday is going to be Harpia and number 15 Battle Axes. So we've got some big time matches coming. So again, Diamond League coming Saturday. Be ready for that. More 6v6 action. Supercut for today's match is going to be posted in a couple hours. Alpha Whiskey had some real life stuff coming, so he was a little bit delayed there. Comey came in and dropped another 64 bits. Much appreciated, brother. Again, if I'm going to chill again, if you guys, because we're trying to get partnership. Trying. I think the more bits, the more subs we get, the more likely that's going to happen. So if you guys got an Amazon Prime link with your Twitch account, check it out. Free sub. It doesn't auto-renew, so you got to make sure you do it, every month. But Amazon Prime, link it with your Twitch account if you haven't already. Free sub every month. So that's my shill for the month. Big thanks to our sponsors, Fox Mounts, TacView, Wild Weasel Apparel, and Buddy Fox. Much appreciated. And, of course, Eagle Dynamics, Siri Map, Mother Truckin' Awesome. Black Hog, my box must be lost. I still don't have that thing. But what's going on with the Postal Service, who knows when I'm going to get it. And then Heat Blur and Thrustmaster. If you guys are looking to get into Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, Heat Blur's Airbus stuff actually looks pretty cool. It's a pretty affordable throttle quadrant with multiple throttle inputs, and I'm actually thinking about getting one just for buttons and levers and stuff, not even using it for a throttle, but for DCS. So I'm really looking forward to that. So huge shout outs to all of them. And make sure, if you guys haven't already, that you follow us or subscribe to us on YouTube, because that's where all the replays come. So if you were late, you can watch them there, and the supercuts. That's all I got. Billy, anything closing?
No, I'm pretty good.
All right,
probably gonna go hammer out some flight action here.
Yeah, I need to go find some food. The chocolate pretzels were not enough. But guys, Saturday, 1500 Zulu, we will be back again. 64th Aggressors taking on Phoenix Task Force, Diamond League again here with SATAL 2020. So until then, have a good one. Fly safe in those skies, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.
See you.